We are jumping right in and starting with the most important news by far that Jerry the King Lawler is doing better and will make a full recovery after suffering a what people are saying is a mild stroke last night, and basically though he has a though he has limited speech now, he is expected to make a full recovery, and by far that is by far the best news we could possibly hear after the health scare yesterday and finding out the king was taken to a local hospital in Florida. I, for one, remember how freaked out it was and how nerve wracking it was back in 2011 when Jerry had the heart attack on on Raw, because I was taken aback when I found out that King had a heart attack. But to know that King is going to be okay, it it's very very soothing. Is it soothing? Very it eases the mind. And I know there are people that probably say, "Oh, you've never met him before. How could you?" After nearly 25 years of watching professional wrestling, you get attached, emotionally, mentally, and you get invested in the people you see every Monday night. And for the better part of 15 years, the two people that I saw every Monday night were Jim Ross and Jerry Lawler. So, of course, if something happened to Jim Ross or Jerry Lawler, it's going to hit, it's going to strike a nerve and be something that, it's going to be something that I have to, dig into, quote unquote, because of how attached and how emotionally how emotionally attached I am to the King and Jim Ross. Just for example. But I mean, Dusty Rhodes, Roddy Piper, and I didn't even grow up with those guys. I just have nothing but the utmost respect for those, for Roddy and Dusty, that I was taken aback when they passed away. But I, for one, am ecstatic to hear that Jerry is going to be okay and that the King will be on the mend, or is currently on the mend, in Fort Myers, Florida, based on an update from his Twitter account. So we here at Wrestling Express wish nothing but the best to the King and hope that he makes a very, very quick recovery. On to other news, and the other news is NXT took place last night, and it was the first NXT after NXT Vengeance Day, where we saw Ding Dong Hello and the return of Bayley, where Bayley hosted Gigi Dolan and JC Jane. JC Jane, basically trying to mend the fence that arose during the world title match at NXT Vengeance Day against Roxanne Perez, and the wedge that was being driven between the two remaining members of Toxic Attraction. Basically, we thought everything was fine, and then a super kick changed everything. Sound familiar? And then Gigi Dolan tried to escape, but JC Jane brought her back and, well, taught her not to, showed her why she shouldn't have tried to run. I'm only kidding. That was my best of trying to imitate the Brain and his reaction to Marty Jannetty trying to jump out the window during the barbershop. I haven't seen it. From what I've heard from the people who have, it seemed like a good segment. Seemed like a segment that, you would want to watch, and that it was very well done, and it leaves you wondering what's going to happen next between the former members of Toxic Attraction. But I think that it was the right decision. I think that it was the right way to go. I know it's going to leave a hole and a big gap in the women's tag team division, but I think it was the right way to go as far as the future of those two women, because it would allow them now to find their own footing as opposed to trying to continue the legacy left behind by Mandy Rose. We also have concern over Sami Zayn's popularity and my opinion on the segment last night, or Monday night, involving Cody Rhodes and Paul Heyman, but we'll get to that later on, or in another news video. But speaking of Monday Night Raw, Alexa Bliss is taking some time off after, as a report, no word on why Alexa is taking time off, but what we do know is Alexa Bliss is taking time off and will be gone for the foreseeable future. I'm sure we will probably find out more information on why Alexa has chosen to take time off, because Alexa has been one of the more involved talent in the Uncle Howdy segment, in the Uncle Howdy skits, outside of Bray Wyatt, and the fact of the matter is, I understand if a talent needs to take time off. I understand if they need to go, to disappear for a bit. And I like the fact that WWE is seemingly more willing to allow talent to disappear for a bit. Because how can I miss you if you don't go away? But I just hope that Alexa's okay, and that it's nothing, of that ilk where she needed to take the time away because something's wrong. And that maybe she just needed some time away, or maybe she just needed a break. Maybe, maybe it's a temporary thing. Hopefully she's back before WrestleMania. Hopefully she's not gone for the long term, and hopefully it's nothing serious. So I wish nothing but the best to Alexa Bliss, and if I didn't say it already, I wish nothing but the best to the King as well. But I am also, again, like I said, I'm also intrigued by what's going on between Jacy Jayne and Gigi Dolan, as Gigi is clearly the babyface, and Jacy Jayne is clearly the heel in the split of Toxic Attraction. But that is something that we're going to have to wait and see what happens as we look to the future. But also in the future, Miko Satomura is back in NXT, and it seems like the visa issues for the UK talent are a thing of the past, as Miko Satomura and Ilya Dragunov returned to NXT last night, with Dragunov picking up where he left off against the Irish Ace, JD McDonough, and Miko Satomura is teaming with Roxanne Perez next week against the former champions, Kaden Carter and Katana Chance, which is going to be a massive tag team match, as Miko Satomura is the former NXT UK Women's Champion and has been gone since When Worlds Collide. So it is great to see her back, number one, and number two, that is an incredible tag team match set for next week's episode of NXT. And the fact that Dragunov is back, you gotta figure one of the headline matches of NXT Stand and Deliver during WrestleMania weekend will be JD McDonough versus Ilya Dragunov. Well, we got another news video to get to, and it includes my breakdown of Cody versus Heyman from Monday Night Raw. So stay tuned for that. And with that being said, I will see you in the next video.